The first Wes Anderson movie that I was introduced to was this one right here. It's The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, that guy right there. First of all, I was drawn in by the dry humor that's present in all of Wes Anderson's films, and also by the astonishing attention to detail that is evident in every facet of the film. Wes Anderson films aim to confuse. You may be unsure in moments whether you should be saddened or laughing. For example, in this short clip that I'm about to play, pay attention to the bit about the mini submarine on the deck of the Bellefonte. You'll notice that the submarine was once called Jacqueline, and it's now been renamed to the Deep Search. There's an inquiry about it, and the character, Steve Zissou, goes on to say in a completely matter-of-fact, emotionless tone of voice, "She didn't really love me." The viewer is left unsure of whether or not to find humor in his distress or if he's even distressed at all. Personally, I find it to be quite humorous. It's these moments, alongside the beautifully immaculate and unmistakable filming techniques that I'll be discussing, which drew me into more and more Wes Anderson films. When you begin to recognize the nuances in the films by Wes Anderson, they become more and more identifiable. With his unique approach to film, he's able to tell a story that's unlike any other. So I'm going to play you this clip.
Let me tell you about my boat. The Bellefonte was a long-range sub-hunter during the Second World War, which we bought from the U.S. Navy for $900,000. This is my mentor, Lord Mandarin. He's dead. The sauna was designed by an engineer from the Chinese space program, and we keep a Swedish masseuse on staff. Here's where we do all our different science projects and experiments and so on. This is the kitchen, which contains probably some of the most technologically advanced equipment on the ship. Eleanor put together a top-notch research library for us with a complete first edition set of the Life Aquatic companion series. We process our own rushes and keep a cutting room on board so we can do an assembly while we're shooting.
I can't find them. What's a good piece?
This is the observation bubble, which I thought up in a dream, actually. 2 albino scouts swim with the ship. They're supposedly very intelligent, although I've never seen any evidence of it. Here's the engine. The bearing casings aren't supposed to look like that, but we can't afford to fix them this year. Topside, we've got the bridge, the mini-sub, an old chopper, and all kinds of radar and sonar and underwater moving gadgets.
What happened to Jacqueline?
She didn't really love me.
So, what are the tells of Wes Anderson's films? What distinct styles tie all of his films together? His techniques aren't really exclusive, but Wes Anderson does use these particular techniques that I'm about to talk about exclusively. These techniques include planimetric staging, centering and symmetrical composition, and limited color palettes. So this is a still shot from a movie that's yet to come out. It's called The French Exchange. You see Bill Murray here. And this is a great example of planimetric staging. So you can see how kind of everything in the background, aside from the subject, is very flat and geometrical. In planimetric staging, you want the subject to be at a 90-degree angle to the camera. There's nothing in this set that's at an oblique angle. And the planes are often used to focus on the subject. I'll scroll through. Here's another great example of planimetric staging. This shot comes from the Grand Budapest Hotel, and you can see how the lines kind of draw the viewer's eyes into the concierge desk. All right, a zoom into the desk, and you see the concierge there, still with the planimetrics framing the subject, and also this planimetric staging lends itself really well to both the centering and symmetry in the shots of Wes Anderson's films. Another shot of Bill Murray. This is from the movie Rushmore, and you can see again it's centered in the shot, and you can see the planimetric staging also. All right, this is an iconic shot from the movie Moonrise Kingdom. This has a lot going on in it. The planimetric staging, centering in the shot, and you can also see the beginnings of kind of dealing with a very limited color palette. Okay. All right, and this is just a kind of a better example of what you're dealing with when you limit your color palette. This is a shot from the Royal Tenenbaums, Richie and Margot Tenenbaum, and you can kind of see all the elements put together here, the planimetric staging, symmetry, and right here you see the division between Margot and Richie that centers the shot. Okay, this is the Grand Budapest Hotel, and one of the things that I really like about this shot is the color palette. To me, it gives it a real sense of being surreal, and that's kind of a goal of Wes Anderson to let his film be kind of like a story or very illustrative. So, despite the fact that all of these shots are from separate films, you can kind of see a cohesive pattern in their composition. The components of Wes Anderson films don't end on the visual aspects. His works are also tied together by the unique approach to narration, which I'll discuss now. The storylines and character choice, along with the signature deadpan delivery, are easily recognizable aspects of Wes Anderson's works. In many of Wes Anderson's films, you have a sense of knowing there's a director. It's sometimes even blatantly and unabashedly obvious, to the point where he'll even appear in the film. To some, this adds to the appeal of being told a story, but it's also a technique that's kind of drawn a lot of criticism. So oftentimes, the characters in his films are built upon real-life experiences. The films often feature a protagonist who's male, dysfunctional, self-centered, and has very few redeeming qualities. Examples include Steve Zissou, an estranged biological father, only motivated by his own self-interest. And also, Royal Tenenbaum fits this bill. He's a self-estranged patriarch who forces his way back into his family by lying about his imminent demise. To give you a little taste for Royal, I have this quote. This is as he's speaking to his grandsons about the death of their mother. And he says, "I'm very sorry for your loss. Your mother was a terribly attractive woman." So this is just kind of another example of the signature dry satire that you can come to expect in Wes Anderson's films. To wrap up this exploration of Wes Anderson films, I'd like to emphasize the truly unique approach to cinematography that has its presence in all of his work. I've discussed both the visual and narrative aspects that, when packaged together, are the fingerprint of Wes Anderson. I believe that Wes can sum it up best in his own words, though, and I'll end in this quote by Wes Anderson. He says, I have a way of filming things and staging them and designing sets. There were times when I thought I should change my approach, but in fact, this is what I like to do. It's sort of like my handwriting as a movie director, and somewhere along the way, I think I've made the decision that I'm going to write in my own handwriting. All right, and a little film joke for you.